this is kind of a part 2, part 3 video. We're going to go over adding walls and obstacles to our Tilemap game, getting past the obstacles, adding game messages and story, adding an NPC that we can talk to, scores and kind of like rewards that we can add in. We're going to add a second level with the Tilemap and connect them. And we're going to add winning conditions and a way of losing as well by losing lives. And a little preview of our game here is my game is based off of Mr. Dog. This is Mr. Dog right here. And we have the story that starts off with this bone, with this kind of bone frame. I left you something in the treasure chest, but the volcano has exploded. Good luck with the lava. And we got the dog here. Now if we touch the lava, the screen shakes and we lose a heart. I can go back one more. And then if I do a third time, game over. We start over again. All right, so to get rid of the lava, we have to touch the gem. Now we can pass through. Talk to the monkey. He says, you made it. Collect the 2 hams and you win. So go to the treasure chest. There's our ham. And you can see up here we've got a little score counter. And we collect the ham. We got the score counter. And now we're going to go up these stairs. And we're going to end up in the second map. Oh, here is our friend again. And we'll go up here. There's another ham. We collected 2 hams and we win. So we're going to go through how to do that. This is kind of a little preview of our code, but we're going to do this in parts as we go along. So to start off with, I'm going to go from my template of just the tile map. So we have our existing tile map here. And that's all we have right now. So we've got our tile map. We can open that up and look at that here. Let's go ahead and add in our character first. So I'm going to click on sprites. We're going to add in our sprite and we'll call this one our hero. So we click on rename and hero. It's going to be a player and mine is a dog. So I'm going to go to our gallery and I'm going to find Mr. Dog and select him. So now we've got our dog. And our screen will update. There's our dog. Okay. Can't move him yet, so let's add in controls to our dog. So under controller, we've got this one of move a sprite, and we're going to put that after this. So first we create the world, then we create our sprite, and now we're going to move that sprite. We've got an alert because it needs to know which one, and that doesn't exist, so we can tell it, hey, for our hero sprite, that one we're going to be able to move around with our controls, and there we go. Now you'll notice Mr. Dog can run away and we don't see him anymore. So we need to change the camera. So the camera, which is the screen that we see, follows him. And that is under Scene and Camera Follow Sprite. So drag that one in. And we want the camera to follow our hero. So we select Hero. And now it follows our dog. So you'll notice that the visual walls, the graphics for our walls, don't actually stop our character from going anywhere. So that is what we will do next. We are going to create the walls and kind of our obstacles to the game. So go back to the tile map, you can open that up. And in here, right, so these walls are just visuals, they're just graphics, they don't have any meaning. To make them as obstacles that our player can't get past, we click on this wall feature here. And this now, what we do is we draw over it. And you'll notice it changes it to red. This won't change how they actually look. It just indicates that these are now walls the character can't go past. And we can turn off and turn them on to kind of see what things look like. And to show you what that's like, if we go back to our game now, over here I've added a wall. And our character can't go past it. Over here we have not added the walls, and they can. So we're going to go back and with our walls, we're going to draw out those walls everywhere. So now the character is actually limited, or the player is limited by the actual walls. All right. Now thinking through our game, what I want to have is an obstacle here. We're going to put in our lava. We need to have a gem that will open the obstacle or like a button. And then down here, I'm going to have a treasure chest that the player wants to get to as we go along. We're also going to add some stairs so they can leave too. So I'm going to go to the dungeon one. And I'm going to have this be kind of like our button that we press. And I'm going to keep going on here, and I'm looking for these stairs. I'm going to throw in our stairs here. And for our lava that we need to pass, that is actually, they've got that under miscellaneous. And some people did boulders. I'm going to do some lava. You could also add in just like a hole, like a pit. I'm going to add in some lava here. And I'm just going to do the same things of lava on here. All right. Now, because I want the player to be able to overlap with the lava, I'm not going to make that a wall. If you wanted to not do lives, you could just paint walls over that so the player can't go past it. But for this one, I'm actually going to leave it so that they take damage later on. Well, no, you know what? Never mind. Let's do this for now. We'll paint a wall over there so they can't go over there. We'll add damage at the end. So if we try this out now, now in our game, we can see our little gem right there, and the player cannot get past the lava. Oh, you know what? Did we add a treasure chest? We didn't add a treasure chest. So we're going back over here, and under gallery, it's under the dungeon. We want to add this treasure chest here. All right. So we've added our obstacles. That is part 1 for this. We've added our obstacles and our little gem. We've updated our tile map. Now, what we want to do is we want to have it that when the player overlaps the button, the lava will go away, our obstacle will go away, and they can get past it. So, that is under scene. They have these tile map options, like this one here, where we can add this in so that now a sprite of the kind player, when they overlap, in this case, we're going to click on this drop down, and you'll see these are all of the graphics that we have in our tile map. Only the ones that we're using in the tile map will show up. So we're going to say if they overlap, no, not with the lava, if they overlap with our gem, then what we want is the lava to disappear. We want to make this lava go away. And that is also under scene. And we go down to tile map operations. And what we'll do, the way we make the lava disappear is we actually just change the image of it. So if I click and drag that one in, any code that we put inside here, so this isn't an event block. So on the event that our sprite of the kind player overlaps with this type of tile map graphic, then code inside here will run. And what we want to do is we want to change our lava to just look like a regular floor tile. So we're not really like making it go away, we're just going to replace it. And we want to know the locations of that lava as well. And to do that, we need to count out. So it goes by columns and rows, kind of like think of it as like our X and our Y coordinates. 2 ways you can do this is just one way you can do this is you can count them out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. But also down here, you'll see little numbers pop up. They'll give us a coordinate. So this is 7, 8, and this is 8, 8. So on here, I'm going to say the lava that's at 7, 8. We want it to be a tile map. I'm going to duplicate this because we've got 2 pieces of lava, and that one's at 8, 8. So then they should disappear. So let's try this out. Now if we go down, we've got lava. We touch the gem, and now the lava is gone. But you'll notice we can't keep going because the wall is still there. It's just changed the graphic. And that's a separate block to remove the wall. Under scene, we go back down to tile map operator or operations, and this one of set wall. And we're going to give it the same coordinates of 7, 8, and we're going to duplicate that block again, and 8, 8. So now we are changing the graphics that is currently lava to be floor, and we're going to remove the wall in that location. So we'll try this out. And now the dog can go through. Okay, we've made it past the barrier, which is fantastic. And let's go ahead and add in a little sprite right now of like being able to kind of win if we get to that treasure chest, because we're going to use the same block here of event. So now we want to have if the player overlaps with that treasure chest, then they win. We'll do that for now. So what I'm going to do is actually just duplicate this block And I'll drag it down here. And it's grayed out because we kind of have the same thing as up there. We can't have two of them at the same time. So I'm going to change it to, say, our treasure chest. And we'll trash all of that right now. So when the player overlaps with the treasure chest image, then we want to have them win. And that is under game. And we're going to have game over, win. So let's have that for now. We go, if they get to the chest, that says, you win. All right, okay, we got that. Okay, now part 3 that we're going to do is we are going to add in, I'm going to paste that in here. What we want to do next is now add in our messages and story to this. So up here at the start, what we're going to do is we're going to have some like message, like have our story that goes along with the game. So under scene, we've got this option of, we scroll down, or sorry, not scene, game. Under game, we go down to the bottom, we've got dialogues where we can have some text show up. So we're going to drag that block in, and we want to have some text here that'll show up. So I'm going to say, hello, Mr. Dog. I'll see what this looks like now. We've got hello, Mr. Dog. We press the space bar A and it goes away. We can add in multiple things of text too. So I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to say, I left you something special in the treasure chest. All right. Hello, Mr. Dog. I left you something in the treasure chest. And then they have to go and get that. All right. One of the other things that's kind of cool is that we can change the graphics of this. So under game, this other box of set dialogue frame, we want to put that before we have the dialogue show up. We can choose some existing things. I really like the dog bone one because it's a dog. So we can add that in, and that is going to change how our text looks. And I don't like the black on the brown background. I want to have it be white. So you can change the text color also by going to game and set dialogue text color. And I'll put that up to the top. And I'm going to make the text be white. So hello, Mr. Dog. But now you'll see here too, it says, I left you something special, and then it gets cut off. It doesn't expand with the text. So the way we can change that is over here they have other options. We can make it full screen. Now, thinking about as a like game development side of things, I want to have it so that at the beginning the player sees the dog and the text, and then after that it's okay. I can just cover up the whole screen. So it's like I left you something special in the treasure chest, and then I'll add in another one. Good luck getting past the lava. The volcano erupted. Good luck getting past the lava. ... All right. All right, so we have got our story in there now. Looking at what we've got here. So we've added in our walls and obstacles. We can now get past the obstacles. We've added in our game story at the beginning. Next, we're going to add in an NPC. All right, so adding our NPC, our non-playable character. I'm going to go back to first our tile map and just kind of think about where I want to put the character. So I want to put them down here so my player has to first get through the obstacle, then they can talk to the NPC. So the first thing we need to do is just create the NPC. And so that's going to be with the new sprite. It's going to be the same way that we set up our player to begin with. So under sprites, we will drag in a new one. I'm going to go ahead and just put them up here by our other one. And this one, I'm going to rename it to be NPC1. And for the kind, there's kind of different rules that will go along with these different ones. We've got players, but this one won't be a sprite that players will be using. We've got projectile, food, and enemy. It won't matter a whole lot, but I'm just going to add a new one called friend. And this will be the kind for friend. If we were kind of building out this game more and we had enemies, it can make a difference of how we have them, what type of sprite they are. And now we're going to select what they'll be. For mine, I'm going to use an existing one. I don't want to use this monkey there. So I'll select him. I've got him there. And look at our game. One of the problems right off the bat is that we need to place where the monkey is going to be. He just starts off same spot as our player. And to figure out where I'm going to put them, again, the coordinates will show up down here. So I have my NPC there, so that looks like that is 412. So I'll close that. And under scene, it gives us the ability to place a sprite in a specific spot on the tile map. So I'm going to click and drag them over there. I'll also put it underneath our NPC. And so I want it to be our NPC, and the coordinates for that one was 4, tab over, and 12. So now our NPC should be at the spot of 412. Let's try this out real quick. And go down there. There they are. All right. Next thing we want to have is let's be able to talk to our NPC or have them talk to us in some way. There's a variety of ways in which we can find out is our character close to the NPC. What we're going to do is something that's similar to how we did with the treasure chest and with the button trigger for removing the lava barrier. But we're going to do some things a little bit differently. We're going to use an if statement. There'll be a couple of steps for this. So I'm going to move over to the side and give myself some more room. The first thing we want to do is go to our loops category, and we're going to drag in this forever loop. And this is a loop. Any code that we put in there will loop through continuously throughout the game. And this is where we'll put our if statement. So we want to know if our player sprite is overlapping with our friend sprite, then what will happen? Then we want our text to appear. So under logic, we'll find that if statement. And so we'll drag that in there. And we want a block that will allow us to compare for two different sprites. They've got one under sprites already. So under sprites category, we scroll down and look for this one here, the overlap. So you'll notice that this one has the pointy edges just like this one, so they can fit there. And with all of these, if you move it to the far to the right so that the left sides are kind of lined up, you'll notice the changes to yellow. It'll kind of like snap in there, so we can let go and snap sand. And now this is where we specify, all right, if our hero overlaps with our NPC 1, and so this allows us to get it to not just simply any kind of sprite of the type friend, but it's going to be a specific one of NPC 1. So if we added in multiple NPCs, we would use the same block over and over, but we would just change who they're interacting with. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put in some text. Now, instead of a dialog box like this, I want to have it look like the sprite is actually saying it. So under sprites, they have an option of this one here under effects and my sprite say. I'm going to drag that in. And so we want the NPC to be saying this. And it's going to say, you made it. All right, let's try that out. I like to do a lot of testing when I'm going through to make sure if I'm missing anything. So we open up the lava, we go through, we see the monkey, and then they say it. All right, so a couple of things. First off, the text isn't going away. Let's have it go away. And the way that we can do that is click on this plus, and now it allows us to change for how long it will show up. I'm going to change it to 1 second, which is 1,000 milliseconds. And I want it to animate also. So we'll try this out now. Oh, and see how it's kind of like weird here. Now, you notice how it kind of like bugging out. What is actually happening is that because it's forever looping through, so it is continuously restarting this message over and over and over because their characters are still overlapping. So we have to kind of problem solve, like, okay, how do we have it so that our character isn't overlapping constantly? One way we can do that is just by moving our character back, right? See, if we manually move our character back, then it continues. We're going to do that with some code. We want to change the location of our player sprites, so they just automatically bump over to the right. And that's under sprites, and use this change. Set and change look a lot the same. This one will absolutely move it to a certain position. This one, we would just want to move it to the right by a little bit. So click on the change one, and we'll put that up here. And so we want our hero to move to the right by 10 pixels. I'm going to do that, and I'll show you what this one then looks like. This is where sometimes you can kind of test it out, see what it's like. So if we go over there, notice how our character kind of bumped off to the right. We can also see what it's like if we end up going to the left side. It just keeps bumping them over until they're no longer overlapping. All right, that works. I want to add in an additional message, so let's duplicate this. And so they say, you made it, and now he's going to say, go, did you find the prize for the treat I left you in the chest? All right, we'll put that in there. And same thing with animation as we're going along. All right, try that out now. All right, now this one super fast. Notice that we barely even saw the first one. What we need to do is add in a little pause, because what happens is it goes through, plays the message, and then automatically jumps to the next one. And we want to put in a pause for that. Sometimes I forget like where pause is, and so which category. So I just like to use the search. I'm going to search for pause, and I'll drag that one in. And we're going to put that in here. We'll have a pause for 1,000 milliseconds, 1 second. And this is where, you know, based on your game, how you want it to feel, how much text you've got, you made it, did you find in there? So that was kind of quick. So let's display this one for 5 seconds, that last one. This one, let's pause for 2 seconds, and we'll play this one for 2 seconds just to give us a little bit more time. But all right, so now we have got our NPC now working, and we can talk to him. We've got our game already so that we can win the game by getting to the treasure chest. But I would like to have something different happen now. I want to add in a score. So we talk to our NPC, says you made it. Did you find the treat I left you in the chest? Okay. What I want to have now is that if they go to the treasure chest, a ham appears, because in the book, Mr. Dog liked ham also, and chops, and beef, and raw eggs and stuff. So to do that, we're going to think through this again. We're going to have a sprite that will appear in there. Yeah, so to add in our score and rewards, this is going to be a couple of different things. Basically, we're going to have a couple of hams, and Mr. Dog is going to go and collect the hams, and then after his score gets to a certain point, then he wins the game. So we got a number of things we need to do for this. The first thing I'm going to add in is just simply our score, a way of kind of keeping track of the score. And that's going to be with variables, but MakeCode has got it set up under info where they've got some of these things already set up for us to make it a little bit easier, where they have kind of this idea of like scores and high scores and lives already set up as variables for us. So at the beginning of the game, we will go ahead and set our score to 0. And we're going to add in it so that whenever we collect a ham, that our score is going to go up. All right, so if we're going to have ham, we need to go ahead and add in our ham. And that is going to be a sprite also. So we'll go under sprites, and we'll add this one in down here. This one, I'm going to go ahead and rename this variable, and I'm just going to call it our reward. So you can kind of be whatever it's going to be. And this is going to be a type of food, and I'll select an existing one. I'm going to go with this smaller resolution one. Ham, that's a really big one. This one will be smaller. All right, so we got that. All right, so I've got some ham. Now, here's one of the tricky things, right? Our ham, in order for us to kind of like work with it, now I want it to like kind of like appear from the treasure chest and stuff like that. We need to kind of like put it someplace because we're going to be calling this ham, and if we don't have the ham created yet when we're calculating out the score, then it creates a bug because there's no hams yet, so it doesn't know what we're talking about. So I'm going to place that ham off the screen. This is kind of like a programming trick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this block that's like where we placed one. So it's just really what I want to do is I want to place this reward to be at -1. I'll tab over -1. So what this is going to do is it's going to create a ham, but instead of displaying it on the screen, we're going to put it at the position of -1, -1, which is over here off the screen. The player will never be able to see that location. So we've essentially created it and then hidden it from the player themselves. Okay, so that's kind of all we need to get set up there for creating the ham and placing it. Now what I want is when the player comes along and they get to the treasure chest, instead of it now winning, I want the ham to appear above the chest, and then the player can go collect it instead. So let's figure that part out. And we're going to be doing this in a couple of different places. So I'm going to go down and find where we had that block. There we go. It's kind of hidden behind here. So I'll move it to the side of this winning condition. I want it so that first, when the player goes and they overlap with the treasure chest, I want that ham to appear. So we're basically just going to change the location of it. So under scene, we're going to scroll down to this Tilemap operator. We're now going to move that reward to be in a new location, which is close to where that ham is, or where the chest is. I want to make it just above it. An easy way to figure this out, I'm just going to go over here. So it looks like that location is 10, 11, right above the chest. So down here, I'm going to say, hey, put the reward, which is our ham, at the Tilemap location of 10, and I tab over 11. I'm going to remove this game over win condition here. Okay, let's just see if this works out. So we go through and go to the treasure chest. There's our ham. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and do that. You know what? It'll be kind of cool too. Is let's also have the treasure chest open up as well. So under scene, I'm going to add in. Where was it? We want. Yeah, this one here. Oh, but we don't have the open chest yet. Okay, so we wanted the chest to be open. What we need to do is we need to put it on the tile map someplace, and we'll kind of do another sneaky thing like that. So that was under our gallery and our dungeon, and I'm going to put our treasure chest, the open one, there also. And so here's what we're going to do. It's going to be a little tricky here. You know how we hid the ham at the same time? We're going to do kind of the same thing where we're then going to hide that treasure chest one also. So right now, if we play the game, that open tile is also there. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace the open treasure chest image with the floor one, so that image is still available, but we're going to kind of hide it right away at the beginning. So that was under scene that we're looking for, and we want to put this one again. We'll plop it up here, and we're going to set just a regular stone one. What was that? That was 1013. I'm going on 1013. All right, so essentially now what we're doing is we start off with that open tile image, and then we automatically replace it with the floor one. And the reason we do that is because now down here, we can have that as an option here. So we're going to have that open, and our location is 10, 12. Let's test this. We go down there. Okay, we've got our closed treasure chest. We touch the treasure chest, and now it's changed the open image, and our ham has appeared. Fantastic. Now we're going to finally score a point by collecting that ham. And the way we're going to do that is the same idea of how we did our NPC. We just want to know if the player overlaps with the reward, we want to then trigger some code there. So we're going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to, we could duplicate that one and edit. I'll add in a new one here. So under logic, we drag this block in. We'll put it down here because it's not part of that one. It's just going to run after it. Under sprites, we're going to find that overlap one. We'll put that in there. And this time we're going to say if the hero overlaps with a reward, then we want a couple things to have happen. We want we want to score a point. So that was under info, and we want to change the score by 1. Change, not set. Set is sort of like you set an absolute value. This one will just increase 1. It'll increase the score by 1. So if it was at 0, then it's 1. If it was at 1, then it'll be 2, etc. And we also want the ham to disappear. And so to do that is something called destroy. And we're going to go down here, and it's this one up. We want to destroy the reward. And I'm going to duplicate that. We'll just drag that over there. We just want to destroy the reward. All right. So it should now. All right. We've got our score counter up there. And if we go along, we go down here, our ham now appears. We've got the open image of the chest, and if we go over the ham's disappeared, and our score has gone up by 1. That is fantastic. Okay, so we've now changed that one. Let's go ahead and add in a second level to the tile map, because on that one, we are going to then have a second ham, where if they collect both hams, then they win the game for us. Let's see here. So thinking through this, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create that second tile map. So up here, we're going to add in another tile map, and what we'll do is, how should we do this? Actually, no. You know what? We will. Looking at this tile map, we've got these stairs. So when the player, thinking through this, we want to have it when the player sprite overlaps the stairs sprite, then we will go to a new, we'll change the tile map to a new one, and we'll also display a ham on there. So this will be another block like we've done with the lava, or not the lava, but with our kind of like our gem and the treasure chest. We're going to do another similar thing to that. So it's going to be under scene and tile map when a player overlaps with a specific kind of tile. So we'll drag that in. So when a player sprite overlaps with, this time, the stairs, we want to now do a new tile map. So that's under scene and set tile map. And here we're going to create a new one. For this, for the sake of time, I am just going to go ahead and paint this whole thing. No, we're going to paint it all grass. We'll throw in a smattering of flowers here and some other grass tiles to just kind of mix it up so it doesn't look like it's all repeating the same. And we'll click on done. That's fine. All right, so we've got that. So now we're going to go to that other tile map. Let's also add in that second ham. So we're going to click on sprites and sets. Okay, so it's going to be reward again, and it's going to be that same ham. There we go. We got that one. And it is going to be food. Okay. And let's also place that food someplace. So that is going to be under scene. And we want to place that reward sprite. Let's just put it in like 6, 6. Let's see what happens. All right. So now let's try this out. So what we've done so far is now if we go and we collect that ham, okay, our score goes up. Now if we go over these steps, once we overlap the steps, our tile map changes. Oh, look at that. Our friend is still there because we never made them go away. And there's our ham. And same thing, notice how our score went up. So that logic that we used for the first ham, up here, this logic also applied to that ham, and it went up by 2. That's fantastic. So the last thing that we're going to do here is we want to have something, have like a winning scenario of if our score gets to 2, then it says that we've won. And so that's going to be another if statement here. Let's look at what we're doing here. Yes, we've got our second tile map. We've connected them. Now we're going to add this winning condition so that if we get 2 hams, then we win. So under logic, we'll throw in another if statement down here. And we're going to say if, and under logic, we're going to use this block now. And this allows us to compare 2 numbers. And the first number is actually going to be our variable called score. So under info, we're just going to drag in that score. Notice how it's a circle. That variable represents a number. So it starts off as 0, then it goes to 1, then it goes to 2 as we keep scoring. So we want to know once that score gets to 2, that's when we're now going to win. So we're going to do a couple of things for this. First off is just in the game, it's going to be game's over and we won. We can do a couple of other fun things like let's play some confetti when we win, and let's also put in a message. Where is that message? Oh yeah, use message. And say Mr. Dog got wins. Go eat some ham. All right. All right, let's try this out. We're gonna speed run this. There we go. We got our gem. We got our ham number 1. Go. We get ham number 2. Hey, Mr. Dog wins. Go eat some ham. Okay, so maybe we'll play around with that score thing there. We'll just shorten up our message. Say Mr. Dog wins for now. All right, we got that. So we have our winning condition now. Let's go back to that add life and lose conditions. So remember how over here we set it up so that if you go down, you can't cross the lava because we made it a wall. What we're going to do is instead of a wall, we're going to allow the player to actually overlap the lava and they lose a life. So thinking through this, we've got multiple things for life and losing conditions. First off, we need to add in a life system. And then we'll edit the map and we'll figure out what happens when they touch the lava. So the first thing is let's just add in our life or our health. So under info, it is going to be this one of set life to 3. So now we've got a score, or we've got number of hearts. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. So we've got 3 lives right there, our health. All right. And so one of the things we need to change is because now we want the player to actually be able to overlap the lava. So we're going to go back to our tile map and we're going to erase the wall. So we select wall and the erase tool and there. So we still have our lava. We're going to click on done. All right. So for changing the lives, we're going to do is we're going to use the same thing. We just want to know if the player overlaps the lava, we want to now lose some life. So under scene, we'll use that overlap block again. Drag it down here. So when our player sprite overlaps that lava, we now want to change their life by -1. So under info, we've got change life by -1. They've already set that in there. So we lose 1 heart. And we're going to run into a little bug here that you'll see in a second. If we go down, we immediately die right there. And the reason that we immediately died is because our player just simply stayed over the lava, and so it just immediately, every single time that the game updated, we just kept losing our lives, so we instantly died. So what we want to do is we want to bump our character back a little bit by that. And so the way we can do that is just same thing we did with when we were talking to our NPC. We want to change the location of our sprite by a little bit. So I put that on here. So we want to change our hero. This time we want him to go up, which is going to be a negative number. So we want to change this to Y. And we want to go up by -20. And one of the things I also like to do is there's a fun one called Camera Shake. And I'm going to drag that in here too. And we're going to shake the camera also. So let's try this out. So now when we touch the lava, we kind of get this like camera shake. Oh, because we touched both lavas at the same time, we lost 2 hearts. And then if we do this again, there we go, and then we died. All right, so try this again here. There we go. So if we go down, we just touch 1. There we go. And then if we go and we touch the gem, the lava goes away and we can pass through. And we keep going. You can customize the lose message or something like that. But now we've added in our life system and also a way to lose the game as well. And you just restart.